Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. What you're looking at here is the Aether SX2 PlayStation 2 emulator. And this is running on my Nvidia Shield TV Pro. Now this is a relatively new emulator, and it's been making a lot of waves lately just because it's really good. Now PlayStation 2 has been historically something that's difficult to emulate on lower end devices. If you have a powerful PC, it's not that difficult to emulate, but Android, it was nearly impossible before this new emulator, and this is completely free. So you can, what I did is actually I sideloaded this because it's not available on the Play Store through my Nvidia Shield, so I had to sideload it. Very easy to do, just find the APK file on Google. And this thing is great because you can really customize your experience here and play around with the features a lot. Now I'm showing you Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex because this is actually one of the two best games that I got running on this thing. I've tested about, I would say, 10 or 12 games so far, and this game and a Metal Slug 3D game that I never even knew existed are the two that run the best. Crash Bandicoot: Wrath of Cortex is also available on GameCube, and while the Dolphin emulator runs really well on the Nvidia Shield, this particular game for some reason runs better on the PlayStation 2 emulator. So you can see I'm playing around with the settings here. I just put on a widescreen hack, and if you look in the upper right hand corner, you can see the frame rate is consistently right around 60. It does dip here and there, and it does go above 60 from time to time. But that's where your tweaks come into play here. So this menu is pretty straightforward, but it does have a ton of features, and playing around with them is kind of the fun of this for me at this point. Just testing the different resolutions, seeing how high I can go before it crashes, and which back end I can use. You know, some certain back ends run better than others. The Vulkan, I think, works better for some games than others. But it's all a matter of trial and error at this point. And you might find some guides online with people who are much better versed in this stuff than I am. People who can give you specific specs for whatever game you're looking for, just looking to play on your Nvidia Shield. But from what I've seen, it's been relatively untested, the Nvidia Shield TV. Now you can play this emulator on any Android device. Of course, the higher end phones and higher end, there's no really higher end Android TV box than the Nvidia Shield from what I've researched, but phones definitely you can run this considerably better on a high end Android phone. But I am pretty impressed with what I've seen so far. Just you can take a look at how playable this game is. Now, you can see the settings here. If you go over to the advanced category, it's just, this stuff is way over my head for the most part. I'm not a programmer. I don't understand what a lot of these terms mean. But, playing around with bilinear upscaling, integer scaling, basically, the main things that I try and tweak are the resolution and the back end, just because those are the easiest for me to understand. But, of course, there are so many different things to play around with, and if you are very tech savvy, if you know what a lot of these terms mean, then you can have an easier time than I have been having. But again, like I said, it's really, the fun of this at this point is just the trial and error aspect of it. I just really like tweaking these little settings and seeing what works better and what leads the game to eventually crash. And you might notice some artifacting on the screen here, and I haven't seen that with the other games that I tested, but while this game is very playable, this stage does have this weird kind of a film artifact that pops up from time to time. You're probably noticing it. But take a look, this thing is totally playable. And now I can tell you from the games that I tested, I was expecting the Tekken games to run really well just because they're pretty basic 2D plain 3D 3D fighting games, and I wouldn't expect that to take a lot of processing power. But every Tekken game and really every 3D fighting game that I tried ran like molasses. No matter how low I put the resolution, no matter what settings I tweaked, Tekken and Tekken-like games did not run well at all. And I can say that for most of the games that I've downloaded so far. So until there's, like an exhaustive, definitive list of games, it's going to be mostly trial and error at this point. Now, one thing to note is that this Aether SX2, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but Aether SX2 emulator is in beta stage. So this is not a complete version of the emulator, but the developers are apparently putting a lot of time and effort into it, and it's going to maintain its free status as far as I know when it is completely finished. But at this early stage, I would say this is a very impressive emulator. And for the rest of this episode, I'm just going to let you take a look at the gameplay, and you can see the different settings that I'm playing around with. And but again, if you do want to try this on your Nvidia Shield, you will have to sideload it, as far as I know, because it won't show up on the Play Store. At least when I tried multiple times, I couldn't find it on the Play Store through the Nvidia Shield. But again, it's just a simple Google search. You just have to type in the name of the emulator, which again is Aether SX2, sorry, and put APK after that, and you should be able to find the APK file. And from there, it'll just be a simple side loading process. And if you have no idea what side loading is, it's just basically installing apps onto your Nvidia Shield that wouldn't otherwise be able to be downloaded from the Google Play Store. So you just do it from a Google search of the APK file, and then you need a side-loading app, which those are available on the Google Play Store through the Nvidia Shield. That was a mouthful. But anyway, take a look at the gameplay for the rest of this video. And again, this is something really cool that I stumbled over, and I noticed it was gaining popularity in a lot of the channels that I follow. So I thought I'd give you some gameplay footage of Crash Bandicoot, and here it is. So thanks again. This is a quick video, but thanks a lot for your support as I continue on my adventure in YouTube retro gaming. This channel has been a lot of fun. I started this channel about 1.5 years ago, and I really appreciate every single viewer, every single subscriber, and you guys are the best. So thank you very much for your support. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so now. And I'll see you next time on Gamers Overdrive Retro Mode.
"2,000 years later."